Okay, so we're gonna take this animation and try to make it better. Okay, and if you watch, here's the starting animation. It's not very good. This is the result of taking the character, hitting spacebar, and just sort of, you know, um, I'm gonna show you what I did. Here's how I made this animation. I'll put in air quotes. I just clicked it and just went blah 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 like that. Okay, and hit play. And I'm like, it just doesn't look very good. My speed is set to 15 frames per second. You can go to edit options and change your play speed so it says 15. And I would also set your preferences to onion skin 4 so that you can see these little reflections of where you just were. Now, I'm going to take this animation. Here's what it was originally. I'm just going to close. Well, I'm just going to leave that for now. Here's another one that was just like it. I'm going to show you how you can make some fixes to your animation. Now, one, I want to highly emphasize these keys right here. You've got the greater than and less than sign. Now, if you look and see what happens when I press the greater than and less than sign on the second animation here on the right, it moves forward and backwards through your animation. This is how you can get better by looking at what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to use that and I'm going to look and see what's happening that I can do to improve this animation. So first, I'm going to just make sure that this first jump here, when the character moves, I'm just going to put that character closer. Okay. Then the third one, I'm going to put a little bit farther. See how the character's moving a little farther. And the next one, I'm going to move just a little bit farther. And then this one, I'm going to put like right about here. And then this one, I'm going to move. I'm going to end the character right here. Okay. So that looks a little, I mean, it's not great. There's a lot that could be done. I probably would start this animation over. So I'm going to start over. I'm just going to go, I'm going to delete these. By the way I did that is I click on the last frame. I click on the last frame and I hold shift, the shift key, and I click to here and it highlights. You can also click on one frame and then right click and say multi-select and it will multi-select up to that point. And then I hit the red X to delete those so I can start fresh, or you can go file new. Okay, so if I were starting over, which I am doing right now, and I wanted to make this so that we could see it. One, I'm going to make this a lot bigger. To change the size of your character, you can just type in a number. I'm going to type in a much bigger number so you can see what's happening. So I'm going to hit spacebar. I'm going to delete this old frame and just have my nice giant character so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so one, I usually start my animation with a couple frames of it not moving at all. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4 frames. At 15 frames per second, 1 second would be 15 frames. I don't want him to stand still for 15 seconds. But if I were just going to do a little hop so that he just looked like he's hopping, I would start by just having him move up a little. You might bend his legs and his arms, move his arms, but I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to move him a little bit. This orange dot should be moving every single time this character is in the air. So there should be no time where your character sort of like levitates. Okay, like this is not great. He sort of stops. You can see how he sort of stops. And he stopped because I'm using my greater than and less than signs, because right there, he didn't move at all. Like if I look back and forth, he like barely moved. So I'm going to just delete that frame because that just made that animation look really weird. Okay. Jump, jump. That kind of, now it's what is weird, and I'll show you. If you don't, once the thing starts moving, the space between each animation should be farther each time if it's going faster. So if it's going a little faster than this time, then it goes a little further, and it goes a little further, and it goes further and further. It's farther and farther. The object moves farther and farther if it's going fast. So like he's jumping. So I'm gonna make sure that each time I hit the space bar, I'm gonna start over. Okay. Yeah. Oops, I meant to delete the actual things with the red X. Okay, so he's gonna start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then he's gonna move a little bit. Then he's gonna move a little bit far. See, I'm getting a little bit farther. Then I'm gonna move even farther out. I'm going to go even more out. See how the space is getting bigger and bigger? And I'm going to keep going like that until he hits the top of his jump, which is right about here. Then I'm going to have him start like falling, and it's still getting farther because he's picking up speed. Then he's going to land right here. And I'm going to hit the space bar 2 or 3 times because he's landed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit play. Now that looks a lot better than this. I mean, this one just is not good at all. This is just really poor animation. It's just too glitchy. You just not there's too big of a space. Like the spacing just changes too much. It's not consistent. So like it's hard to know like what's happening. The more consistent your spacing, but also when I say consistent, it shouldn't be exact. It shouldn't be the same. It shouldn't be the same distance. It should be moving a little farther each time if it's going faster, and it should be moving a little bit slower and closer each time if you want to slow it down. So if he's doing a slowdown, he's going to get less. So I'm going to go back and look at these frames using the greater than and less than signs. It should look like you're watching a slow motion video. Now, I can also go back, and now I'm not going to use spacebar at all. Spacebar is when you take a picture of your frame. But since I'm going to edit these frames now, I'm going to use just my mouse to make the change. I'm going to make the changes. So I'm going to start by moving his hands up a little bit. I'm going to go to the next frame. I'm going to have his hands go up a little higher. I'm going to go to the next frame. I'm going to have his hands go up a little higher. I'm going to keep doing this so that it looks like his arms sort of raise up as he's jumping, because I was like, yeah, his arms just standing by his side is kind of boring and it's not very interesting. And then I'm going to have his arms start coming back down as he's landing. So I'm going to bring them a little bit lower, a little bit lower. He's almost to the landing right here, maybe. And then he landed and his arms come down a little bit more. So let's hit play and watch that. No, we're not doing anything ground shaking here. This is not like and making the world a better place, but we are improving our animation. Now I'm going to go back again, and this time I'm going to make his legs do a little jump out too. So when his arms go up, I'm going to start putting his legs out just a little bit, kind of like he's doing like a kick out, like one of those, like a jumping jack almost. I'm just going to make sure I move his legs a little further out each time until they're kind of at the max distance here. And you can, by the way, you can see how far you angled something by looking down here at the bottom. So if you see, like I'm selecting this segment, it says 143, and over here it says 30. Okay. And if I go back, I can click on this segment and see it was 136, and this was 51. I go to this one, it's 143. So I might go bigger. Okay. And then I'm going to have it come down smaller until it's almost where he lands right there. Okay. I'm going to hit play and watch that. Okay. So my animation went from this. Let's look at it. Where it's a pretty just pure spastic whatever to this, which is starting to have a little personality, a little something happening. And everyone's going to do this and move things a little differently. But those are ways. Now, let's say that I want more. Let's say that there's not enough, or I skipped a space, or I want to add something. You can actually add in a frame too. Like let's say from here to here, it felt like the jump was too much. I can go back to this frame and I can right click here and say insert. And what it does is it inserts an exact copy. Then I can move it just a little bit more if I want. Maybe make a little adjustment to the hands and legs. Now hit play. So I actually inserted a frame. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, if your the poses that you made for your character are all good, the way to really do something that makes you look impressive is to highlight all these frames. I'm going to hold shift and click here. And then I'm going to click on in-betweens. I'm going to just do 2 in-betweens. Now watch what happens when you do in-betweens. Did I do it? I don't think I actually did it. Yes, you have to click on one of these frames. It says, do you want to set all the frames to in-between value? Yes. Now let's hit play. It should be slower. Now, do you see how it's kind of like smooth? What it's doing is it's drawing 2 pictures between each of my pictures. So between each of these pictures, it is drawing 2 more that are just a little bit closer. Now I'm going to crank my speed up and hit play. And that all of a sudden smooths out a lot of my jump. Now let's go back and look at the first animation versus what I just got, which is here. Much more interesting to look at, right? Much smoother. This is what I would like you to take and apply to all your animations. One, easing, which means you always don't move the exact same distance, one, unless it's a robot, okay? Two, move a little farther each time, whether it's your hands or your body. And also, if I can emphasize this, the orange dot, when you're in the air, every single time that orange dot needs to move. Every single time. If it freezes and it doesn't move at all, you need to like delete that frame and fix it. So like if I went like this, right click, insert, I'm gonna hit play. See how sort of like there's that glitch right there? And I'm like, oh, I see a glitch. Why am I seeing a glitch? It's because I didn't delete that frame. So I'm gonna delete it. Yeah. Let's go back. I'm using those greater than and less than signs. Oh, there it is again. It's stayed there for 2 frames. When I'm using my forward and backwards, my greater than and less than, it's not changing. So I'm gonna delete another one of those to fix it. So that's how you delete and change and move. Okay. This applies to anything you're moving: a basketball, football, shooting a laser, firing an arrow, having a character hit another character, having a character do a backflip. Think about what it would actually look like, but use small motions to start a motion, and then any action, small movements, and then as it gets faster, bigger and spread out more. I hope that's helpful. I hope this is going to improve your animating, and have a great day. Maybe if I can find the stop button. Where is it? I don't know where it is. There it is. Bye.